right, fire, man. Well, welcome to another episode of Building with Mars and Big Esco.
Wagwan.
We've been using a lot of different programs. I got to get my display name right. You know what I'm saying? We've
Oh,
been,
hi,
we,
nice.
no, we've been moving around, and I was like, dang, what we gonna use next? 'Cause as we, getting
Right,
our
figuring it
production
out.
down.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I'm rocking with it though. I'm rocking with it. How you feeling, man?
I'm chilling, bro. It's only Tuesday. Wow, it already feels like a Wednesday to me. But
Man,
the sun is kind of starting to poke through, so I ain't got no complaints. How you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, we got some blue skies here.
Nice.
Um, I'm be making this might be one of my last episodes with the hair, man. Telling you first, man. I'm making an announcement here. I make all my good announcements here, bro. Yeah, cutting it
For
down.
real?
Yeah,
I've
I'm
been thinking
cutting it,
about chopping my shit too lately, low
but
key.
I'm
That's
finna
heavy.
regrow it though.
What you gonna? Are you gonna lock back up again, or you just like going to
I'm gonna
do
do
some?
some braids,
Okay,
probably do
okay.
a little hair for a second, just try some shit. But eventually, I'm gonna lock back up.
Okay. I haven't done mine yet, so I'm really like, damn, should I just lock out just to see how I feel? I just
Right.
know I'm gonna still want to comb it out because I love the braids and lock braids are nice, so I'm not gonna take that away. But I fuck with the just on the scalp, just like boom
Yeah.
boom, them shit's milky boy.
Not the same. Yeah, like braids,
Yeah.
not the same for sure. Not the same. So yeah, man. Nah, so that's what I've been thinking. I got a lot of stuff going on Friday. Um, I don't know if I even told you this, but in the winter I shot like a video to announce the Kings Highway Trail. Like kind of turning
Okay.
Kings Highway into a trail. So we shot that with Cammy from my friends and I, STL
Okay.
Run Crew. It was a
Nice,
collab
nice,
between me and
nice.
STL Run Crew, but Cammy shot it. And it's gonna be at the
Okay.
Momentum
Okay.
Film Fest, I think at the Alamo Friday. So that's
Oh, dope.
fire. Something
Congratulations. Let me
different, a
look
little
forward
short
to that.
film joint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Nah, that's
Creative
dope.
direction from the Esco company,
The Esco
Uh,
company. I
you
feel
know,
you.
so getting shit done, man.
No, that's love. That's love. It's well, I think I'm DJing on Saturday, but I just kind of heard that that may not happen all of a sudden. So
Yeah,
I could use a little bit of rest. I just
that's
DJ'd
cool.
last weekend. I got a DJ again next week. Expo weekend coming up. Flying
You
to
traveling for
Baltimore for the
weddings,
shoot.
you was in
Yeah, so it's
wedding, you moving
yeah,
around.
it's a lot. That's why I'm like, it feel like Wednesday already because time really moving. I got to finish my taxes. I'm mostly good. I do have a decent little refund coming back, so that'll be cool.
I
But
know I
that's
was
about right
trapping
now.
too hard last year. I was trapping too hard last year. I owe Uncle Sam.
Oh shit, damn, that's
The trap
crazy.
is open, money on the floor. So
Mm,
it's like that. You know what I mean? I guess I always
yeah.
be like, would I rather make less money or more money? So I'm
Nah,
going
that's real. That's real. That's real.
I'm
And
moving in the right
honestly,
direction.
the way Trump and them is starting to gut the IRS, I just saw an article headline like what about audit. It's right now it's mostly on like the 1%,
Yeah,
basically about to not pay more taxes or whatever and pay
right.
even less rather. But I definitely can see a lot of people like running it up on some like maybe not a PPP, but definitely doing some like tax fraud and
Yeah.
evasion type shit. It's about to happen.
Surprise, surprise, America. Surprise, surprise.
And then when we talk about we ain't got no money in the tax base for no damn services or resources, it's gonna be real nasty. But this is
Yeah.
America, like
Last
Donald
thing I'll
Glover.
say. Last thing I'll say before we get into our topic today. Um, Shout out to our new mayor, Kara Spencer.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I heard about that. I heard
Shout
about
out to our last mayor, Mayor Tashara Jones,
DJ.
first black
Oh yeah.
woman mayor. I've had two black women mayors. Shout out to Lori,
Oh right. Oh
Lori,
wow.
Lori,
Big Boss Lori.
Big
Yeah.
Lord. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Lori.
Right. Then
Shout out to
shout out to
Tashara.
black women.
Shout out to black women, man. They got the Statue of Liberty as a black woman. I'm at
Type shit. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, yeah, but I'm laughing because there was an old tweet that was brought up from Kara Spencer in 2020
Okay.
talking about how she gonna bring an NBA team here when she was a mayor. She becomes a
Oh
mayor.
really? Wow. I would love to see that happen.
Not gonna happen, but and we didn't get the WNBA bid. Shout out to
Right,
Jason trying to
right,
get the
right,
team
right,
here.
right, right.
Um, but we do want to cover some sports marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's a lot happening in sports right now. I would say when you look at baseball, Shohei Ohtani. You know, them opening up the season in Japan against the Cubs, I
That
think
was
is
super
very
cool.
telling.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the NBA, the conversation around just now players in the media. This is a conversation I didn't think that we would ever see, but now just what's that line? You know, you got older players like LeBron, Draymond,
Mm-hmm.
not so much younger players. I guess the youngest players that's got like a podcast or a media presence would be like Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson,
Right. But
Duncan
they
Robinson.
damn near about to start getting closer to 30
Yeah,
now.
they old in NBA terms.
Yeah.
Um, and just that media coverage, generational talk overall. We
Mm-hmm.
got the growth of the WNBA. Shout out to Paige Beckers, who was just the #1 pick.
Big Boss Pig.
That and the NFL is just the Goliath. It's the NFL. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's business as usual.
Yeah.
But college sports with the name, image, and likeness, the NIL, and how that's dominating, I would say, the conversation when it comes
Right.
to college sports. So we're marketers, we're advertisers. Sports has always been, I won't say an equal playing field, but it's been the great equalizer in
Yeah,
America,
as they like to say.
bringing people together, which I think is truth too.
Mm-hmm.
I can say for myself, if I was not in sports, I don't think that I would be where I am in corporate America
Why you
personally.
say that? That's interesting.
Because from a very young age, um, when you watch sports, you have to break down the color barrier. So I didn't
Mm,
know many white men, but I knew Brett Favre.
right.
You know what I'm saying? I knew these athletes, and you look up to white coaches. I always wanted to play for Coach Krzyzewski growing
Mm-hmm.
up, Bob Knight. You know what I'm saying? So it just was like I'm looking to these older white men in terms of leadership, even in a
Mm,
different way that I wouldn't in music. I liked white
right.
musicians, and I read up on Leor Cohen. I understand that, but I didn't look at Leor in the same way I look at Mike Krzyzewski. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
with you, so I
I
feel
looked at Dean Smith, Roy Williams, Phil Jackson, all these
you.
different people.
Right.
And then growing up, getting to play with, young white kids. I was in the
Mm-hmm.
8th grade playing with kids that went to Borgia, lived in Washington, Missouri. And we
Right.
sitting around listening, cursing the rap music in the same way. And we are genuinely friends. I'm still Facebook friends with these people to this day. And I would
Mm-hmm.
literally hug them if I saw them, and
Okay.
their mothers loved me, and we went on trips together, and they got to know me, and my mom loved them in a special kind of way, and
Mm-hmm.
watching my dad, he's a coach, all the little white kids that he coached, all the little hood black kids, all the private school black, it just brings people together when you
Right.
participate. And
Right.
so being able to talk to my boss about the Cubs or being able to talk about the tournament for me just was always an easy way for people to just kind of talk to me and level set with me and not have to
Okay.
overthink an interaction.
Right. So
That's really all it is.
now I understand what you mean, because I'm like, I think you would have been there, like I think you would have made it. But as far as relating to people,
Yeah, I don't know.
absolutely.
I don't know
Like
if I would have.
if it's anything that you know that you could talk about as a dude, at least as a
As a
dude, or
dude.
even for the
Maybe
girls who
I
work
would
in
say as a
corporate
woman. I'm
and
not
these
even gonna say
male
as a woman. As a
spaces as
woman.
well. Yeah, because
As
the
a woman.
female sports fan is actually pretty big. It's almost 50-50 for most of the most popular
Yeah.
leagues, but the way that women socialize isn't necessarily so heavy on sports. That's like instant banter to talk about for the
Yeah.
guys. That's
Yeah.
what water cooler conversation I always knew of was what it was come Monday. It's like, did you see the game on
On
Sunday? Da, da,
Sunday.
da, da.
Right.
And that
Yeah.
kind of trickles through. I mean, you can sit down, have a beer with any person of any race. If you're a sports fan, you could either debate or be both fans and just
That's true.
reflect for 2 hours. And then you get to so what is it that you really do? Oh, I work in sales. Oh, I work in tech, and exchange business cards and fucking make $250 million together, some random shit like that. Like stuff like that does happen. So I definitely feel you. All the things that you're saying about participating in sports, I do agree with as well. I mean, it's like studies out there that show about sports, any sort of extracurriculars, I would argue, but sports has a particular way of working with people that you don't like. That's not the same as like playing piano. Now, maybe being in a band is different because you have to collaborate that way and
Right.
it's a give and take, but literally passing the ball, You know, that's a different type of thing. Not every band does solos where you passing somebody the ball for them to get their shines, but it's like we got to trust the big man. You know, you got the point guard or a quarterback, and you spreading the ball around and all these other things, or you on the line. And it's like my job is to protect the quarterback.
Right.
Like
I
all of
love this
those,
dude.
yeah. Like that's my guy. So I fuck with it. I mean, sports is beautiful. I would say it's probably up there with music as not only an equalizer, but also a great unifier. And music, to a lot of degrees, is not always an equalizer. Like it's motherfuckers that's leaps and bounds. And now we can be unified on music for sure, but I don't see equalizing in the same type of way. Now,
Can we be unified on music?
we can be. I mean, you know,
Some people are.
it's
I'm
you
joking on
are
that.
a white boy, you know, back with the white guys in the jazz band back in the day, and
Some people
white
are. Some
folks fucking
people
with
are.
Motown, and like it's a lot of crossover that does happen, but there's still a lot of barriers in music.
Yeah.
Absolutely, there's
Yeah, I agree.
absolutely still a lot of barriers in music. I think with sports, you do get it's a little bit on that merit. Now, granted, there's some nepo babies and some other little things out there that still works, but that's in every facet of life. But like, if you're faster or bigger, stronger, taller than that motherfucker, and like you work harder and your hustle gets you through. You Danny Amendola for real. Like that stuff really is dope. And that's why I like we can veer, I guess, more into the women's one to start off. I love seeing the rise of women's sports and basketball. I think for us, we just kind of fuck with women's basketball that much more. It's like our favorite sport, but like the soccer shit's been smashing for a while now, you know. Flag football is something that's actually rising as a sport, and women are going out there and killing it in flag football. I'm
Hey,
not ever gonna say women shouldn't play tackle football,
well, hold on
but
now.
like it's
Hold on
way
now.
safer out
I wanna
there.
build on that though. Shout out
Yeah,
my
yeah.
homegirl Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
Brooklyn playing a tackle football league here in St. Louis. Like she leads
Oh wow.
she won a championship with her mama. Her
Oh
mom was in the
wow.
same team.
Tackle? Shit.
Tackle. I'm finna look this up. Actually, I'm finna look this up.
That's
No,
hard.
dead ass though, because
That's
I like
hard.
watch them on like TV or
Oh
whatever.
wow. Oh,
Yeah,
that's what's up. That's what's up.
yeah. So that shit is that's a real thing. That's an
Yeah,
actual
you
real
know, so
thing.
like with Beckers or whatnot, I know we were talking just for a hot second, but like you probably also saw the headline, like Paige Beckers also signed that deal with Unrivaled, so she gonna be doing like most of the WNBA players playing in two
Okay,
leagues or whatever. I like
that
the
would be
fact,
for next year,
yes,
technically, right? Yeah,
yeah.
or
She's
the
about to do the
fall,
WNBA, and then when
right
that's
after
done,
the
she's on.
season.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But they said that her contract that she got with Unrivaled is worth more than what her rookie first round contract is going to be for the WNBA. And it's just like, damn. And I know she was already getting a bag in college as it is with the NIL, all of those situations. But seeing how popular women's basketball especially has become over these like the last 2 years, really, for real, it's truly exploded. You know, they're having record ratings, you know, definitely endorsements. I know a couple episodes ago we kind of talked about Nike's pivot and pursuing, you know, female athletes and things of that nature. And with the Nike campaign, you're seeing it in women across all the spectrum of sports. But like the with basketball as a cultural phenomenon,
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be like the segue to like truly put on even more for women's sports and kind of carry the torch from where women's soccer has, because they've always been America's pride and joy for the last 20 years or so. But as the girls basketball starts booming, it's about to get real interesting with these
Well,
deals,
to that,
fashion collabs, you know, sneakers. I can't wait to see
well,
like sneaker sales are going to be looking like. Will men
the
wear them? Men are
the
wearing jerseys, so it's a lot of growth still to come.
they so I looked up her contract.
Okay,
She's gonna make 350,000 in an
right.
arrival, I think,
Uh-huh.
in year one. And her in year one of her WNBA contract, she's gonna make 78,000. Over 4 years, she'll make a little bit under 350.
Okay. But that's still crazy. That's
That's
still
still
crazy.
crazy.
One
That's still
year versus
crazy.
four is like, okay.
And so, you know, you have the new CBA, which
Mm-hmm.
is why the guard from Notre Dame Hidalgo, she didn't go into the draft. She elected to go back to college and get an NIL to play again. She'll make more money. Wait till the new CBA comes into and see, and you know, take her career there from there.
Right.
Um, I watched the first WNBA game. So I've been a WNBA fan for sure. I don't really, outside of the Olympics, I guess I don't
Mhm.
like follow other women's sports.
Mm.
I don't watch soccer
Mhm.
generally. So dudes
But
either.
you
I don't
are
know, dude.
aware of them popping up every couple of years from a World Cup or an Olympic, and they,
100%. And I
yeah,
watch those
yeah,
games. Like I said, I'll watch the world stage games. I'll watch, every blue moon. I'll see the new indoor track, outdoor
right,
track
right,
season and
right,
stuff is going
right.
up. Who's going to make the team? I'll watch the qualifiers and things of that nature. Even
Mhm.
seeing that they've had a professional women's hockey league.
Yeah.
I think that there is a lot of growth. Like you said, Coach last
Mhm.
night sponsored the WNBA draft. So I saw players with
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
bags
That was
on,
smooth.
like they do with the dudes with the watches a lot of times, those
Mhm,
kind of brand deals.
mhm.
I really like that. I guess for the unrivaled thing, it's really interesting to me. Oh, and I want to say the Valkyrie, the new team that's going to Golden State.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
the first
yeah.
team to sell 10,000 either season tickets
Oh,
in their
wow.
first season, or it's either 10,000 like home opener. But that don't
But
sound right.
that's still, yeah,
I feel like it's
either
season
way,
ticket, something
that's
like that.
still a big deal though. And to be the
They're
first is
playing
like they're breaking barriers still.
literally. And
Yeah.
so you got the Fever, who got all nationally televised games this year pretty much. When they go to
Mm,
Chicago, they're gonna play in the UC. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like all these different things.
mm-hmm.
Um, I guess for me, I will be really curious to see with the new CBA, what is that contract going to be like for them? And is it going to be guaranteed? Are they going to share the market, kind of like try to split it 50-50 or
Right, right,
51-49, kind of
right.
like how the NBA does? I think that obviously people always try to say, like, well, it wouldn't be a women's league if the NBA didn't pay for it. It
Yeah,
didn't work in a deficit. Like, people every day don't fucking wake up every day in debt. Like, what are we talking
right,
about?
right, right.
But yeah, I think that the WNBA, when it comes to marketing to young girls, is gonna move up. To kids, is gonna move up. It doesn't seem like, I don't see a path for them to get more non-sports watching women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like if you're a woman that already watch football, maybe you care about your local football team or just football in general, you would be more likely to then start to keep up with the WNBA, because you
Right.
probably just keep up. You're more likely to be a women's sports watcher. And
Mm-hmm.
college women's college basketball has done a great job of building stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
actually that women's college basketball is in a shaky space with the NIL, because I think that college athletes overall think that they are the stars and not the institutions. I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
beg
yeah.
to say that the institutions are the stars.
That's the
You could
star
go
making thing.
start for Notre Dame, any sport right now, and you will become popular.
Right, 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 right. They have the platform at
If
the end of the
you
day.
go to North Dakota State, I don't know if you're still a star.
Right, exactly,
I
exactly.
don't
You could be
know.
balling crazy out there too, but nobody's gonna be paying attention
It's
to
not
you.
the same. It's just
Yeah.
not the same. That's just the truth. So as these NIL deals continue to grow, the WNBA seems poised to make, the biggest jump that we've seen leagues make in a long time, because you also have to assume that the international women, where the international women's basketball has already been on a bigger pedestal maybe than
Mhm,
American
mhm.
basketball, those players are on their way too.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
always liken the WNBA, if you want to look at it from like the men's standpoint, like people like to
Mhm.
do. They're in their first 25 years. Kareem hasn't showed up yet. Their
Right,
Dr. J hasn't showed
right,
up yet.
right.
Juju Watkins and Paige Beckers and them are much closer to like Elgin Baylor and Jerry West and George Gervin and like
Mhm.
those times than they haven't found their Michael Jordan.
Right, right,
Because
right.
what makes Michael Jordan different than Elgin Baylor and the people that came before them? He was dunking on them.
Yeah,
That's what makes him actually different. And that is where the WNBA's game is going to grow to, because athletes always get better.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure, for
They
sure.
improve. So
Yeah,
all it's going to take is one girl to drop step dunk. And then we're going to have 10 years of girls drop step dunking, because
yeah,
they're going
yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah.
and then we're going to get that one girl that's a guard and flip it to the wing. And she's going to come through and dunk one time.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna be
then
like, what?
the game is going to explode like the men's
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
It's just like the
No,
men's
for
game,
sure,
you
for
know?
sure. I don't fully buy the argument sometimes that people make about women dunking being like the reason that they don't watch it. I think the girls are
No,
still hooping very
no.
well,
Yeah, I don't
but
buy
from
that
an
either.
entertainment factor, I know exactly what you mean, and that's definitely on the cusp. I think the number 2 pick, the young lady that's from France, they
Mm-hmm.
call her like the girl Wimby. I saw a clip of her from like 2 days ago. They were profiling her,
Yeah.
and she was dunking.
I
And I know
mean,
there have been a couple others, but as you mentioned, like athletes do get bigger over
mm-hmm.
time, and the way that like athletes kind of breed and just how genetics and all that shit work, the girls are definitely getting bigger. Paige Becker's being a 6 foot, what is she, a guard? Is she a guard or a
Yeah.
forward? And
Uh-huh.
so it's like that's big for, especially compared to what they were in the 90s and early 2000s. The girls are definitely bigger. So we're going to see that, as well as just like the overall athleticism, power, strength, as more sports medicine and training and things like
Yep.
that gets investment, they're going to evolve. So I definitely feel where you're coming from. My one thing I wanted to poke at though a little bit was I actually think that the women athletes, like we're still in the star building process, but
Mm-hmm.
someone like an Angel Reese, like I can see her on talk show. Like she's going to have this cross-cultural thing showing up at these different spaces, fashion weeks, things of that nature. They're going to have a handful more of those over the coming years where we're going to be, a podcast. The girls who may not watch basketball might still fuck with some good knickknacking of just girl talk. It just so happens to be from this athlete that they think is cute and fashionable and so on
Right.
and so forth. And women tend to support one another on a consumer level a lot more embedded on just like I fuck with you or you're a woman. The same way that we talk about a lot of multicultural Hispanics, Black, same way. Like they all kind of circulate their dollars in one degree or another, or lean into that when they think about purchasing. So I actually do see, that we still got to see which stars kind of become a superstar when it comes to
Right.
fame and all of that. But there's more in the cut. They were doing that with Juju. I know she had like her TV show during the college season or whatnot. That was a couple
Right.
episodes. I watched like one or two of them. It was decent.
Yeah.
They're getting these endorsement deals. They're getting their faces out there. And it's
Yeah.
definitely people that I see that I don't always know the name of, but it's a familiar face. And then there's other names that I am getting more and more familiar with, and they hustling too. So I don't know,
They
but I do
hustling.
think that they, the same way women in general, when you a hustler as a woman, it's like you just go for it. And the girls eat the shit up, especially if you can package it well. So I don't know. We're going to be surprised, I think, in some ways that we don't necessarily see fully right now. I think we can see a good growth trajectory, but there's going to be some interesting shit that happens over the next few years as well, 5 years or so,
I
up through the
guess
next Olympics, where it's like, oh damn, like this shit is big.
I think that, and now this is me being like a American pro basketball sports historian in that way. Like I'm saying like this, the thing with this pro sports that the women are now feeling the bottleneck of, there are only so many spots.
Yes.
There's only actually, and then it goes the same for media. No, there actually is only space for one Angel Reese. No, there's actually only space for one Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I say it like that is because you have to allocate dollars. There cannot be an even distribution of marketing. Just use marketing. So we have to prioritize and create some type of hierarchy. And a lot of those times, those talents, if they're talented enough, they're
Mm-hmm.
talents of a generation. So Caitlin Clark down to Juju Watkins, all the way like let's go back to Candace Parker, right? Candace
Mm-hmm.
Parker's generation. There's only one Candace Parker. She's the only one that's doing NBA commentary in the way that she's doing it, in-game stuff. And then you
Mm-hmm.
have the tier down, who the women who were not as good as Candace Parker, who are doing all the WNBA stuff. They're doing NBA stuff on ESPN, but it's only one Candace Parker.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I'm saying, like, for the marketing sense of it, they're telling you, to your point, exactly who we're going to market.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's going to be on the WNBA players who can create a new market. The market, and that's kind of what they were frustrated with with Caitlin Clark's entry into the league. Oh no, the market is set. We're telling you exactly who we're putting the marketing dollars behind. And it was like, well, wait a second. Why can't we distribute all the marketing dollars? And it's like, haha, well, now welcome to the game. The budget is not meant to make everybody a star. The budgets are meant to make a few people stars. You know what I'm saying? And so I just think that it's going to be like a really good time for them to, like you said, create these new stars. But I'm more interested in these new verticals that they can create. And that's what I'm saying. The guys created a new vertical when they started doing the podcast in the media. When Kobe did the ESPN show and Peyton Manning and them, that cracked the door open. And then guys was like, oh, we could do this ourselves. We can XYZ. To your point, women have more things to sell. So you could just, like a WNBA player, her earrings, she can sell earrings, she can sell makeup, she can sell soap. But women, basketball player can sell soap and lotion. Dudes can't sell, like Devin Booker can't sell lotion. He could, but it would just be like a complete new market.
You gotta be SGA with a skincare routine or something, like, you know what I'm saying.
And he averages the most points in the league. So there can only be one SGA who's got to average the most points, sell, get the deal. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting.
You're thinking the same as me, because me thinking about growth, I didn't necessarily think of it coming from the top marketing dollars coming around. Though I do see a lot of disruptor brands and budgets being like intentions and strategies being shifted around right now, looking for growth, especially while we kind of in this economic volatility. You're going to try to find something that you could buy low, sell high on in the next couple of years. They kind of did that with the sneaker game post the housing crisis, low key. That's off the head right there. But I'm like, they damn near did. But like, as you mentioned, it's all those other verticals. And like I said, that's what I'm saying. I think we'll be surprised to see, but there's more to come. And even the international game is really starting to open up even more, with more international players coming to the States, kind of like how it is with the NBA, but also just like that outward expansion is going to come. It got me thinking about the other thing you were talking about with just like Japan and the opening over there. That was a big deal. That was a lot of momentum behind it. You saw Ralph Lauren, I think Undefeated did some shit over there. It was so many different brands from higher end to like accessible things that were happening just because Big O was showing up in town.
The Big O, man.
I loved it, but and we already know how many international players, not like, it's articles and conversations every year about getting more American athletes back into baseball because it's such an internationally dominated sport nowadays, and they got great TV deals. That's why they stay always making some bread, because attendance at baseball in general has not necessarily been stellar, but they got them crazy TV deals, and they get them ratings when they need them. But it's time for some new stars too, and Ohtani is kind of one of those that's happening. I think really global expansion for these big American brands is the future.
And
it's the only way I think they can grow anymore. Same like the NFL trying to be in Mexico and England.
I mean, the NBA got NBA Africa.
They
breeding 6'10", dribbling, shooting mugs over there. So how long
making new Giannis's and Embiid?
You know what I'm saying? Dikembe. Like how long before you have just like the traveling league to where Luka could stay in Slovenia? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it pull up, and it, how long before you get to that point? I think that when you look at the top, I want to say, I could be quoting this wrong, but the top 15 NBA jersey sales, I want to say Wemby, Giannis,
I can see that.
Probably Shea, and maybe Joker, I think.
I can see that. The 4 15, I can see that.
Yeah, the 4 non-American. And the Canadians who come play in America when in college and stuff, I really don't count them, because it's like, you was a North American, you went to Kentucky. We didn't pick you up from Canada. You would have been that cool. We literally picked these mugs up from overseas.
Right.
You were down the street. You're basically Detroit. It is a little bit different for them, but I don't believe in the globalization of American stars in American leagues. Personally. Because like I said, those are 4. like people say the world is catching up when one country has a really dominant player.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like America in the, not to jump ahead to the next Olympics. I'm not afraid of what? I'm afraid of France. We afraid of France. We're not afraid of France. We're not afraid of
them boys can't hoop. It's gonna be interesting with no Curry,
all
no
them,
LeBron and all of them.
What you mean? So Gobert gonna play in 4 years. He gonna be 3 years older.
They got WNBA ain't the only one over in France that's hooping though. They say they got a slew of some young guns. And
Alex Sarr and them, they in America. They didn't do shit. I just watched them. I just watched them, man. They didn't do shit. I just watched them play.
Team just is going to be able to. They're going to have the most hot, like upper echelon, like hoopers. So in that context, I could see that. But I mean, the pros themselves have said over the last 15,
that's just good marketing, man. I'll say this.
I don't know if it's marketing.
Think about it like this.
Getting sweated some.
This is why I say it's marketing, because them dudes played together 15 years. We put our squad together for a couple months and we win the gold medal. Will y'all stop playing with us? Stop playing. So if LeBron and them played together for 15 years, it wouldn't even be no competition.
What was the score in the final game, the gold medal game?
It was close game. It was under 8 points, but that's still my point. That's proving my point.
Y'all could play, but we didn't bash them though.
Bro. Yeah, because we're not a real team. That's what I'm saying. We're not even a real team. We just grabbing guys together.
But France, all them niggas be over there hooping too, and like international hoops has been getting better.
I'm saying this.
Like, it's not
the qualifying teams. This is what I'm saying. The qualifying team. So this is 2025 and 20. I really do like international basketball, like a lot.
Okay.
2026 is the World Championships, right? So the World Championships is 2 years before the Olympics.
Right.
We've already qualified, but we probably will still play in the World Championships.
Yeah.
Those World Championship teams usually are the Olympic teams. That's my point. Our World Championship teams don't even be our Olympic teams. The times that they were when we had a downturn and we lost the World Championships, we immediately came back and won the Olympics because we just put a team together that just stayed together. You know what I'm saying? Like Spain and them, when we were beating Spain, Argentina, when they won the Olympics in 2004, those teams have been playing together for years. That's my point. Allen Iverson and them had played together for like a couple months.
Right.
And we still got the bronze medal. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm saying. If Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards and the other 10 tight NBA players, if we start right now and we was like, all right, we a team, we finna start practicing, we finna start training, it would not be that's what I'm saying. We're barely a squad. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We're barely a squad. So I feel that I'm not saying that the world competition is not getting more intense,
right?
And that they're not leaps and bounds.
Continuity and familiarity,
but they're not one team.
Yeah.
Now, if Joker, Giannis, Shea, Wemby, if they was all on one team and that was one country, I feel you. But the second best players on their teams, we're not worried about the second best nigga on Canada. Jamal Murray, Dylan Brooks, stop that. No,
so I know you just said that you fuck with international hoops.
Yeah.
Which are like the maybe 3 to 5 like countries around the world just to be paying attention for, either due to the fact that there's likely going to be players coming from over there to come to the NBA, or that's actually just going to be like shaking it up on the world stage in a couple of years to come?
I mean, I think that the continent that's going to Africa could potentially finally get some like medal rounds.
Yeah, Luol Deng been really pumping. I heard this couple.
That's what I'm saying.
Been investing.
So those African teams are going to. It's going to be an African country that surprises.
Yeah. And physically, them niggas gonna be dominant once they get their shit together on the coast.
They just got to get to that high level of playing.
Yeah.
Canada will always kind of be around because Shea has risen up and they got supplemental. They can fill out an NBA roster. So just that level, like people competing on that kind of level. As far as like Joker Serbian, the fact that he is just that good in the way that he plays, he'll always be able to have them in a similar situation. And there's a lot of Serbians that play high level internationally, and their second or third best players will also be NBA players. That's the problem with Greece. Is Giannis is just the best player. They might have a second guy, but that
Right,
second
right,
guy
right.
might not be the second best player on some other teams. And
Mhm.
then you got Slovenia, like it's just Luka, and Luka is just not that kind of guy. So it's
Right,
just
right,
like,
right,
and
right.
then you got France. France is the biggest competitor to me looking forward, just from not just from an age standpoint, but Alex Sarr, the dude that went to the dude that went to Atlanta. I can't even think of his name, dude. But he's pretty good. Maybe that is Alex
Okay.
Sarr, the dude that went to Washington. It's a couple just
I remember
French
seeing that.
dudes.
And they drafted a second French kid the
That's
year
what I'm
that they got
saying.
Wemby too. And he not half bad. He not Wemby, but like he gonna grow into something.
And so with that age, their size as like
Mhm.
height and length, like that could just be a tough matchup depending. But
Okay.
it's like that's what I'm saying. Like our American players, when we all come together in that sense, I mean, we're bringing together all these different franchise players.
Mhm.
Everybody that we're going to bring is going to be a franchise player. It's
Yeah.
going to be that buy-in. It's just going to be that level of intensity. I personally
Mhm.
think that America could make a team of non-NBA guys
That could still go over there and fuck
that
niggas up.
could still compete on an international level. And when I say non-NBA guys, like fringe it's guys in the G League, it's guys that's overseas that dominate these other leagues that we
Mhm.
could definitely put out there and make an international team of American-born players. And I think not include the top 15 and still compete. I don't know if we could win, but that's what I'm saying. If I feel like we could go outside of our top 20 NBA guys and still find a team, a group of guys that could compete internationally, that's say what it say, because the best runners run. The best volleyball players play volleyball. One of
Right,
the best
right,
volleyball players in America was Chase Buttigieg. He played in the NBA. It's
right, right,
like,
right,
you
right.
know what I'm saying? So I guess I just kind of look at it like that. Like, it's not enough talent gaps. We got a league full of the college basketball. They're all American. Now, I'm
Right,
not
right.
saying that they could compete with Wemby, but I'm just saying like we could put a team together that we could figure something out.
Yeah, and it's a team sport. And Wemby, even as dominant as he is, the Spurs still lose games.
You know what I'm saying? They still lose. That's all I'm saying. Like, but yeah, so we'll see. It'll definitely be different, but I just don't like that narrative that they try to push that like the world that's catching up to the NBA.
No,
Because it's
that's fair.
like
That's fair.
that to me is very anti-black.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying?
While we on the basketball subject, what was your favorite campaign this year? Like, were there any particular marketing highlights? It ain't got to necessarily be a campaign. I know mine. We might have the same favorite campaign, and it was a little controversy around it recently as well. But
Well, you talking about the Anthony Edwards.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Steve Stout has said that
Mhm.
shout out to translation. So saying if
Right,
you
right,
work in
right.
translation.
Legendary.
Um, that they did that same ad with Reebok,
Mm-hmm.
and where the dude is like it's been a crime scene because somebody got
Mm-hmm.
dumped on. Very cute. I really do like that. I liked the. Was this the same year that they did the band Jordan? That was this season, right? Because they did
You
it at the
talking
Super Bowl.
about the old commercial? Or you
The
talking about
30 years.
this year?
Yeah, that was this year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The bands dropped. Yeah, yeah, early
I
this year.
would probably say that campaign because just the breadth of
Really?
it,
Okay,
just
okay,
the
okay.
breadth of it, it was really uh it's a good history. It's just like the history of
Yeah,
it, the
yes,
like
yes.
the storytelling of it, I thought is like pretty cool. And it's about one of the most popular basketball
Right,
shoes.
right, right. So
Um
that's an interesting one. I did like it. I would give the band campaign kind of like a B for real. I felt like it was a lot that I still would have liked out of it. I feel like the comm strategy was fire. They were everywhere. It was
yeah.
showing up from the influencers to the activations. All of that was really dope. Telling the story of band, they did expand on it this year too, and I did like the storytelling
Mhm.
component as well. I think the strategy was pretty solid, but I don't know, it for some reason it's still kind of, I didn't get enough sparkle and shine from it
So
at
it's
the
a little
end of the day.
cliche.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's a
yeah,
little
a little
cliche.
predictable, and I know Nike kind of is dealing with some other stuff. I still
Mhm.
I think yes, the storytelling and the comm strategy was still dope. They also should have gave us more of them, bro. Like I think that they limited them a little bit too much. I know that the hype was gonna be there regardless, but they could have fed the streets just a little bit. I ain't saying saturate the game, but like you could have made at least like another like.
It feels like there was a missed opportunity with no NBA players wearing them.
Yes,
like
that is
Jalen Hurts warmed up in them.
Right.
It seems like Jordan's just overall push as a brand to not be seen directly as an extension of Nike, but to create its own brand has been really fun to watch. So maybe I was just giving Jordan brand in itself kind of that favoritism a little bit.
Fair enough. They are doing their thing, though. All respect.
Just Jordan brand. You know what I mean? I think that there's something there. The winning isn't like they say don't win. They say you can't win, so win.
Yeah.
I don't really like that campaign as much. It's a little like heady. It's a little like I gotta read it twice. And I understand what they're saying.
The Olympics, though, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah.
It was. I think it was fitting at that time, but I actually saw a lot of it's funny, I wrote this down in my notes. I definitely saw people like write articles talking about it was tone deaf. I ain't gonna go as far as to call it tone deaf.
Oh yeah, I think it was tone deaf.
I could have done better, but like the way that some people were shitting on, I'm like, I don't think it was that bad, bro. Like you sound like you're 50 writing this article.
I guess I look at it like if you're I guess this is my thing, like with Nike athletes. Maybe you still had to overcome an obstacle, but you're not an underdog.
Yeah.
And so it's like sometimes, even with the women's athletes, like, come on, dog, this is Paige Beckers here.
Right.
Just because it's a large group of people who don't know, don't mean that this not that guy, this not that girl, and she not, and they ain't been like, I ain't never seen Juju Watkins play bad ever.
Right.
Or not be like hella good. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not saying it like that, but I'm just like, oh, this is when I will give love. South Carolina was in the Under Armour ad with Mark Phillips.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I did like that. That was a good clash of culture, sports,
I like
kind of coming together.
Too. Yeah. I like their merch during the March Madness. They definitely did, and even just watching that program grow as a brand has been fire over the last few years.
Shout out to Dawn Staley. She's like,
no, for sure.
How Louis Vuitton or somebody hasn't like made the custom. Dawn Staley, maroon. I don't even know if they call that color maroon, but just that South Carolina colorway. Like, come on, man. They're dropping the ball.
Like her being on the cover of Slam and all that. I'm like, oh yeah, like you're so goated, bro.
Yeah. No, Dawn Staley is that one. And dang, it was something. I would say this is not market. Well, this is marketing to me.
Okay.
But just the whole Bronny LeBron situation.
It was a lot of story tying. It's definitely marketing.
I thought about this, that like LeBron is very cool because he's not the first, but he's one of the NBA's first kids. And now he's the NBA's like real first dad.
Yeah.
Like we look at like, and that's something that I admire. Like I was a LeBron fan in the 7th grade. So to watch like little kids and younger people I know who are younger than me now, like make songs about him. Right. They're looking at him as like dad. They're not really looking at him as like NBA star. Like they're kind of viewing him as an elder. And I'm like, that is actually very cool. That's actually really cool.
It's funny. It was either with interview with LeBron or some other player like before the game, and they were basically talking about how Bron is like this elder statesman now that like you can hit up for advice, getting his approval like makes a big difference to them. He said what's up to you. He recognized who you are. Like those are very validating things. And I remember at the top of the season, they had that clip of old boy being like, yeah, my daddy played against you.
Bro, it's so many people.
It's like, wow, that's
so many people.
That's crazy.
Jaron Jackson Jr. is like that. So many people.
Yeah. And now for his son to be in the league, and obviously still local kid, then went to school out there and all of that. So like I understand just them clapping for him anyway, just off the fact that he from LA for real. Yeah. But then that's also LeBron's son and he plays on the same franchise. Honestly, couldn't have written a better story.
And the way that he's progressed. LeBron has actually, if he was still going out there looking like super timid, not that good, no G League action, but he actually got some G League highlights. He's got some NBA highlights, and you can just see how proud his dad is of him. And that is like it's amazing to watch. And I'm just saying in particular because LeBron, and that makes me want to give a shout out to the Bryant family, because Gigi would have been a freshman this year on UConn for sure. And she would have won a fucking championship with Paige Beckers, which is amazing. And I want to send a special shout out to Carmelo and Cayenne. And Lala. Because, you know, it ain't easy having your mom and daddy not seeing the same page. But I feel like as parents in the Black community, the way that they showed up for Cayenne and did an
exceptional job.
It's really heartwarming, and to see Cayenne be able to step into that legacy at Syracuse, and you know, he wasn't a McDonald's All-American this year. I could argue both ways, but I feel like that's my other good one. Like that he got the was it the State Farm Capital, one of those commercials. Cayenne and Carmelo doing the March Madness.
I gotta look that up.
It's either State Farm or something like that. But basically, they're making fun of the D-Wade statue reveal. And so they're we're at Syracuse. Yeah, we're at Syracuse. They pull it back, and it's Cayenne, Carmelo, D-Wade. Really funny, really good. That's another good one too. So just shout out to them.
Also, that sense of humor that goes into it. But no, thinking just about like these families or whatnot, and the whole Nepo baby component of sports, as kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, I ain't mad at it, bro. You know, you got political families, you have media conglomerate families, you have Hollywood families, music families. It's just like that. I mean, that's clearly like what you grow up around. Like a circus family gonna be a circus family, a doctor family, a lawyer family, or the merger of the two. That's what your family does. And the James gang is like the first family of basketball, bro. Bryce still getting busy doing this thing. You know, go off to school next year.
Arizona.
Ronnie being able to make it to the league, you know, things of that nature. Savannah is coming to her own glow as her own individual celebrity with her podcast and everything that she's doing. That's looking dope. Them being, you know, high school sweethearts. And I've looked at some of the I'm like, oh, y'all are like cute little awkward teenagers that like clearly love each other. Then Brian go off, marry her, had that baby, and it's like, this is where we are now. And seeing LeBron's trajectory through all of that and the moving around of the kids and everything, I'm like, honestly, the family need a documentary, because we know LeBron gonna get him a Last Dance documentary.
But the family needs a doc
to see a doc.
The fact that LeBron, I don't know if he when he was on Pat McAfee. Yeah, you know, he just brought back the show with Steve Nash, Mind of the Game.
I like the first
one too. He said at Pat McAfee that he only had a house in Akron. You know, if LeBron doesn't get drafted to Cleveland potentially, he doesn't even have Bronny.
Right.
Potentially, you at home with your. It's like he just never left. He never left the crib, or he just went to go play in the NBA.
Grandmama's there,
girlfriend Savannah. I'm still here. Now we just got a bigger house, so I could imagine like, oh yeah, I had a baby this year, like
right. But everybody like, you still at home for real. And then him talking about, you know, the moving away and all that. But I do remember that part, and that was a really cool little insight.
That's telling.
Like, I'm like, hey, Brian, you really the kid from Ohio, the kid that did, man. And you went
really the kid, bro,
to give them a ring too. On top of that, I definitely was choked up when he won one for him. But I'm like, damn, I can only imagine like being the man. Like, bro, got a mythological story, bro. Do you because I know we getting close to wrapping. I don't necessarily think that the Lakers will necessarily win a chip this year, but do you think that they could actually make some shake with a little offseason working out? Because they don't look bad with him and Luka.
This is what I'll say. I think that this is the year for them to do it if they're going to do it.
Really?
Unless there's something that happens like a Giannis leaves, somehow they can finesse that, or a Joker gets sick of it. But I personally think that reason I'm saying is this year is because I don't see how LeBron plays 2 more years. I think I watched him playing that last game and his groin. Like, it's just not enough recovery time. he can still play in the NBA, but his body is different. And like, and so it's just like I just think like this is the first year he didn't average 25 points. So I just think that like 2 seasons max. And if he win a championship this year, I would actually love for him to retire on that and not do the farewell tour. But I don't think it's no way LeBron James doesn't do a farewell tour.
And
it's no way.
I need my ducks in a row because I wanted to go to that game and I just didn't. I know you had went to the game. I'm like, damn, I should have just.
That was the game too.
I should have just been, and it was a good game too. It was a good game.
Shout out Giddy.
Yeah, that was good. I would have walked away salty, but I would have been like, damn, that was a hell of a match.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely there's gonna be a farewell too. Because he's gonna do the whole my heart just not in it no more situation too. And
I don't even think it's that. I think he's just gonna be like, oh yeah, I can't dominate like how I used to. So it's just like I don't want to bring the numbers down. There's no reason for me to really bring my numbers down. There's no reason for me to like because I never played that like that. Like he's not a 20, he's not it's a big difference in the NBA between a 22 point per game scorer and somebody that averaged 25. And you could think like, oh, it's only 3 points. No. If you look at the guys that average 25 and you look at the guys who average 22, it's a big difference. That's the difference between a Hall of Fame career and not.
Yeah.
So it's you know, you just kind of got to look at it that way. This is what I want to ask you before we get out of here. You talk about nepotism. I'm surprised you didn't say this name. What do you think about the discourse as we enter the NFL draft around Shedeur? You know,
that's interesting. That's interesting. What was
he put up the numbers. I'm not saying like Shedeur, like they're to me, what they sound like they're going back and forth on Shedeur is like if they want to deal with Shedeur, and like XYZ. But to me, for the situations that he was in, he performed. And I understand that he doesn't have the prototypical quarterback superstar physical makeup, but from an X's and O's going out there drafting, taking a shot on a kid, it's like y'all pick, you know, some guys. I ain't even gonna pick on everybody. Y'all pick guys that's been a lot less. I feel like athletic than Shedeur. You know right. That's all I'm saying.
And I mean, I'm gonna be happy for him wherever you go because I think that'll be happening.
It's amazing
for sure, and it's awesome. And shout out Coach Prime as well. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think no other big American sport you can see more apparent racism than the NFL still. Great book called $40 Million Slaves. I mean, you know. It's dope to see so many black quarterbacks nowadays and winning rings too. That's awesome to see because just 5-10 years ago, we were still talking about breakthroughs and all of that within the particular sport. And now having documentaries, that's just awesome to see. But you can still hear how people talk about a black quarterback over someone else or a wide receiver or something like that. And I'm here for some good sports fan memes and skits and jokes. So, you know, you need your lineman to be this way, your linebacker to be that. That's cool, fine and dandy. But I think when it does trickle outside of like humor amongst like actual sports fans, and now you're on big mainstream TV making these critiques, that informs how people perceive these young men at the end of the day. And like with so much opportunity and future and brightness and potential ahead of them, and we're still subjugating them to whether or not they can call a play. Like Cam Newton was close to winning a championship, and they talked a lot of shit about Cam. It's football. If anything, you could be dumb and run a motherfucker over. It would be football. And I don't think Cam's dumb, but I'm just saying for them to kind of like speak of a black quarterback in that particular way, I've never been a fan of it, and it still be even with the coaches. You know, we always talk about how black coaches are on a shorter leash when it comes to being able to win or not. Love me some Mike Tomlin. I'm happy that they didn't get rid of him or whatever, but I know Pittsburgh thirsty for another Super Bowl title. It's been a couple of years. I wouldn't get rid of Mike fucking Tomlin though, just because I haven't made it to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, what's the alternative?
Right, it's nothing better out there for you. Or the way that they're short-sighted with black quarterbacks in Chicago after never having one for Hellas. Now you're getting rid of one, you bringing in Caleb now. It's like it'd be so much of that. So with athletes in media, I think and I hope that we will see a shift in narrative as different voices are able to either grow their own platforms or go over to these big mainstream networks and actually be able to give their spiel. We're kind of getting past the fucking Skip Bayless era of it. Of course, you're always going to have like a nitpicker kind of dude like that. And I fuck with the Skip Bayless brand. Like, I don't really dislike dude and nothing like that. But we're moving into an era. Like when Jalen Rose, I saw a clip, it was like this like changed. I think Jalen Rose might have retweeted. It was like this changed like the face of sports media. The clip when he burned.
When he went off, when he
But like, we're going to see real athletes talk about it. And these are people who still went to school, who not slow. They got great basketball IQs. They understand the game. They played it on a professional level. And someone like Perkins actually made it to the top of the mountain and played with Hall of Famers. Like, I want to hear more of their commentary. More of their commentary.
Well,
you know?
And this will be our last point about that. I want to say I'm split on that, being a journalism graduate.
As I would imagine. I
think that, to your point, the whole point is whether you were a player or not, especially in basketball, you can't be lame, bro. You can't be lame.
That's why it's the coolest sport.
It's the coolest sport, and it's the best players are cool. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they can be too nonchalant. That's why people don't like Kevin Durant. He's like too nonchalant almost. You know what I'm saying?
Libra,
so, I fuck with KD. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The older I get, the more KD career goes. I feel that way too. I'll probably be Kevin Durant.
When he be on Twitter, it's clapping back at people.
I'm kind of like KD at my job. I feel, you know what I'm saying? I'm KD at my job. You know what I mean? So I feel. That's why we tell people, bro. It's still their job, bro.
Yeah.
I think that there is a lane sport. I'm putting this on the journalists. They have to find new ways to connect with people, to be relevant, to be approachable, and to still hold athletes accountable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that you see a lot more people opening their voices, like Jones and Jenkins, right? They talk about sports. They keeping it real. If somebody do some lame shit, they got a voice, they speak on it. And I think it's a lot of people. Shout out to my boy Gene and Terrence. It's the Bigs in Chicago, independent sports media. And they cover everything. You know what I mean? And they Black owned, didn't go to journalism school, but they creating that relevant space. So when a Black athlete sees them, they like, oh, well, I gotta try to mess with bro. And then on top of that, he down to earth, they making it. You know what I mean? So it's an opportunity for the journalists to reestablish themselves, because the OGs, I'm gonna be honest, they done sold the game out. Stephen A done sold the game out.
Yeah.
It's not, he didn't sell
it now, bro. I actually kind of respect your opinion a lot less.
You know what I'm saying? Like, where you look at Tony Kornheiser, true to the game, bro. Will Bond, true to the game, bro. And we can still Cowherd, still true to the game. You might not agree with everything he say. Dan Patrick, you might not agree to everything that they say, but they true to the game. Stephen A. Smith and them is doing some doing some Kevin Samuel shit, bro.
Yeah, like
he ain't gonna fake it. And I'm not mad at that game. That's not sports, bro. That's not sports.
The ego is inflating. You know, fame is intoxicating. Success is intoxicating, bro. And I think I ain't mad at whatever you do. Go and do your thing, Black man. Keep expanding, but like you kind of losing the plot at this point, because you want to be a star. And like at the end of in sports, that's unless you are the star, you know, typically the captain or whatever, motherfuckers that your team respects. It's like, oh, that's our star player. You don't come into the room like, yeah, I'm the star. That's not how you win.
Right.
That's not how you win, man.
All I do want to say is the only thing that I'm concerned about for this foreseeable future is right here.
Oh yeah.
This is the only thing that I'm concerned about for the foreseeable future. So if Pusha T, Malice, if you're watching this for real, put the album out. We need it.
Lucky, I might cop that myself. It's funny. We definitely pick up on it next time. But it's funny how you mentioned sports journalism, because I was going to say it also reminds me a lot about where the state of music journalism.
Oh, we'll get into that. We got a topic for the next episode, y'all. We got a topic, because I got a lot to say about that. I got a lot to say about that. You know, shout out to Kendrick Lamar for dropping Luther.
Right.
Already more views than Drake's Nokia. Not that I'm keeping track or looking, but I did know.
Honestly, the streets is saying it's on the algorithm. Just let me know at this point. I ain't even got to go look for it.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, no shade. Right.
Y'all ain't got to do no buy no pay later. Clarina for no Coachella either. It ain't even worth it. They do Forever 21 collab collections. Like,
we gonna talk about that in another because let's let the next Coachella weekend go by, and then
Yeah,
we'll wrap that up. We'll
Yeah.
wrap that up.
it don't
So,
even seem like it's a moment no more. So yeah,
man,
we out, man.
peace out on that note. We'll holla at y'all.
All right, God, peace.
Peace.